はい、おはようございます。こんばんは。英語でしたね。Thank you so much for coming to the live streaming. This is Atsushi and this is the Sashiko Live Streaming where I do the Sashiko stitching while I talk about Sashiko. ちょっと待ってね。Alright, I think everything is good to go. Sound, just a second. Okay, that's good. Alright. Sorry for the very irregular time to start the Sashiko Live Streaming. I had a trip to the airport. My wife and my daughter are now traveling to Israel, and I gave them the ride. So 7 hours, actually not even 7 hours, more than 7 hours of driving. So it was not. I'm quite tired, but it's okay. So let's start Sashiko stitching and talk about Sashiko. よろしくお願いします。日本語は今日の夜やろうと思います。Hello, Lee さん。Hello, しのぶさん。どうもです。Okay, this is the live streaming where I would like to make a place. This is the live streaming where I would like to make a place for everybody. So you don't have to. Sorry, I have to really think about something. This is the place to be. This is just the place to be. So if you have anything to just stitch on, please bring it. There's not going to be any tutorials. There's not going to be any lectures. It's just us stitching together over the internet. All right, I will switch the camera. I'm going to enjoy Kasane Matsuri while watching this live streaming. Enjoy Kasane. よいしょ。よいしょ。8 hours of driving. I know it's nothing for the many people in the US, but it was something. It's still something for me. Today's, do you remember this furoshiki? Almost the freestyle furoshiki that I did a couple weeks ago. I am adding some shippo on it to make it more, how can I say it? To make it more pictures. I still don't have any theme or something, but I'm just trying to do something about it. Which I have not really decided what to do yet. That's how it goes. Yes, ladies, and it's 8 hours. 8 hours of driving round trip. So it's going there for 3.5 and coming back for 3 hours. There was a traffic jam in between, so it was probably 8 hours in total. That far. なので疲れがピークです。I probably could have done this at 9 o'clock, but I had to kind of eat dinner first. I just got back. I just got back to here at 9 sharp. So it is an interesting place. My brain's completely fried, so it might be difficult. Well, I'll get a rhythm. I'll get a rhythm little by little, but right now in my brain there's a Japanese music going around because I was listening to that in the car. So I gotta get a grip. I gotta get a grip. Sakura. Just move, 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 move. Thank you. So I'm gonna be alone in this house for how long? About 2 weeks. Not exactly 2 weeks, but about 2 weeks. Yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't know what I'm gonna do while they're gone. Tons of stuff that I have to do in the house. So I'll do one by one. I was thinking to do the 24 hours of Sashiko stitching, but since I have a kind of little bit too much stuff to do right now, and to be honest, I wanted to rest, so I will not do the 24 hours of Sashiko stitching this year. Next year, if they can travel to Israel again, I will consider doing it, but not this year. Where can I go from Tokyo to somewhere if I drive 8 hours? 8 hours. I probably can go to Hiroshima. Probably that much. You're not lonely because you spend time with Sakura. Yes. That's, well, the biggest reason I do not go to Israel together is the finance. I mean, it's not gonna be that, wow. We have to stay in the hotel if I go because the parents' house is not that big. And that, that adds up a lot of money. And, of course, flight and blah, 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 blah. But the point is, I don't think Sakura is ready to be alone in his house. So I will try to. I mean, we can, of course, get a pet sitter, but I kind of. Sakura is a little bit traumatized because she was abandoned. We got her from the shelter. So she has a little bit of issues, anxiety issues, I think. So it's good to have somebody stable instead of having the pet sitter for 2 weeks. So you're right. So it's the 2 weeks of me and Sakura. For example, it takes 4 hours by car from Tokyo to Nagoya. マジか。マジかって日本で。That, okay, so that's I did a round trip from Tokyo to Nagoya today then. Let's say if I were living in Tokyo, I went to Nagoya and I came back right now. So I'm quite tired. But it's okay. It happens. It's about, it's the same driving to go to New York. So I used to do this every few weeks, every 2 weeks or so. Wow. So the driving itself is okay. Just it's a little bit tiring. But that's where we are. I hope you liked the photos of the denim. I wasn't 100% sure if the color choice was good or not. Red is not my first choice. In fact, it's kind of the last choice. And I used the light blue, but it kind of ended up with looking like a white-ish. So I used a little darker blue and also yellow. It was quite risky. I took some risk to do it, and I think it went okay. I gotta do some more denim as well. I enjoyed a lot, so I gotta do more. I try to make more videos while they're gone too, because I should have more time. Two things I have to do is to paint the house. What else? I promised something. Paint the house, inside the house. Paint inside of the house. Pressure washer the outside of the house. What else? Build. Do I have to build this time? No, I don't have to build anything. Fix the toilet bathrooms wall, because there was a little leak and then the wall is a little bit unfinished, so I gotta finish it. Wow, it's gonna be quite busy 2 weeks. Hello, 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 Lily-san. Thank you so much for coming. Another Lily. Oh, today's little slow day. Slow and what? Slow and numb. Not dumb, numb. I'm kind of quite sleepy, so Aisha. I'm really glad that Sashiko is becoming, well, not becoming. There are few people, there are many people actually who start thinking what Sashiko really is. So I really appreciate that. But at the same time, it has been done already. And the more I talk, the more sort of enemies I get. So I really have to. Well, there's no way to give up. There's nothing that I do for giving up. So no matter what happens, I will not stop stitching. That's what I am strong about. Like, doesn't really matter. Outcome is not really. Outcome is great. I care about it, of course, but it does not change what I do. That's why that's why it's kind of strong. Ah, just, I always feel like heat wave days are slow and sleepy. I feel the same. I don't think I'm in this heat wave, but I had to drive 8 hours today, so that's made me, yeah. And since I was listening to the Japanese music for 8 hours, my brain is not really tuned into the. I didn't listen to the Japanese music for 8 hours. I was listening to the Japanese music for 4 hours, so my brain is not tuned into the English yet. But it's gonna catch up. Sashiko is a great way to catch it up too. Yeah, so there are gonna be a lot of people who doesn't like what I say, but again, it does not really stop me.もう消えちゃったよ。ちょっと待って。ちょっと待って。てか、just a second, okay? 遅いもんね。Just a second. My. So that's the reason I couldn't promise the time to start. I said 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 10:30, 9:30. I mentioned many times because I was not 100% sure what time or how bad the traffic would be. So I came back at 9 o'clock, so it was very good. There was no bad traffic at all. I may be able to go back to New York this July again. It's not confirmed yet, but I would like to. There was one studio asking me to do the workshop, possible workshop. So that's one. It has been 2 years since I've been to New York, right? Yeah, New York City has been 2 weeks, 2 years that I went to the New York City to teach Sashiko. So it will be very fun if that happens. Yesterday I was sleepy all day and slept for a long time. I wasn't sick. Yeah, something's going on. Like something is literally going on. Something is literally going on, and as the result, our bodies start reacting very weird. That's how Japanese people really kind of think too. I don't know about that in the Western culture, but since we believed past tense, okay, since the Japanese mainly believe the animism, they really follow the climate, temperature, humidity. Those things were very important essence of their plan. So they listened, they really followed, and they did not go against those um, conditions. So it is very important to listen to the nature. So is Sashiko, and you have to, in Sashiko as well, instead of controlling the nature or needle or thread or fabric, it is extremely important to let it go. No, I'm not let it go, but in general, it is extremely important to give up the less control, give up the sort of the ego, and enjoy the process. It might not make sense because many people think Sashiko is all about stitching, and stitching requires the needle movement, which means that you have to control the needle, and that's what I think many people think. Even Japanese people think like that. I mean, being Japanese doesn't really qualify for the itself. It's not gonna qualify. I appreciate that people can speak English would be nice, but that does not equalize or qualify them to be that. So, okay. Oh, sorry, Lily-san, just a second, okay? That's reasonable. I never make promises with traffic to nothing. Instead, one time I was stuck in that stuff. Grip lock for the 6 hours. That's bad. It sounds reasonable to follow the weather. I've been learning to do the same because when I stop fighting it, I function a lot better. Yes, so we try to control a lot of things, and we should be able to control it. I mean, air conditioner is the time, I cannot live without air conditioner. So I appreciate and I benefited from those controlling things. At the same time, those are the new technologies, and the practice I'm doing right now were developed in those time that they had to live with it. Of course, it's not the same as today. There was no probably greenhouse effect back then. But the principle of Sashiko is not really about stitching the beautiful patterns with controlling the needles. So by listening, talking, enjoying the moment, many people say that Sashiko is very mindful, and it is very mindful. It is very mindful. Um, but there are a little bit of difference between the Sashiko I practice and the other Sashiko, which one has to focus on the each stitches, hitomezashi and such. Probably a good analogy is the difference between driving and doing the jigsaw puzzle or something that you have to use your brain or control something. One can be mindful when they focus on something, right? If I focus on just stitching, I can of course feel mindful, or I can feel relaxed, or rested. At the same time, driving without worrying about crashing can be quite empty. And that emptiness is what I would like to share throughout Sashiko. I want to be empty instead of thinking or focusing on one thing. So what I would like you to learn is that one has to come out of those stigma of I gotta control it. I gotta control the needles, I gotta control the fabric. By leaving that, we can really focus on what Sashiko is. So I keep saying this, but for that point, embracing the imperfection is really not about Sashiko. It is imperfect. Like, it's the beauty of imperfection, of course, because we use our hand. If you want to make it perfect, we gotta use the machine. And it is absolutely true that it's important to accept the imperfection, but it's not even that. I don't want anyone to use imperfection as the excuse to not to learn, not to practice. Like, not good should be just the outcome, not the goal. But by saying that, embracing the imperfection, we are kind of saying that it's okay to not to be better. It is okay to not to be better, but it's not the same thing as the result. So that's a little different thing, and it's all about outcome when we talk in the Western culture. But here, not at all. I'm sorry, I have to stop using the word all. Empty, yes. I really don't know what the meditation is like in English or in Western culture. I do not know the expectation from the Western listener on this. I'm speaking in English, so I presume that many people from Western countries, I don't really know what meditation is for them. I am a practitioner of the Vipassana meditation, and there are many Western people in that. And if that's what you're thinking, it's very close to what I'm talking about. But if it's the meditation as the remedy or as the kind of technique to feel better, then probably that's not what I'm talking about. So the meditation itself has a very big range. Same as Sashiko too. Sashiko is as well. So we have to be kind of careful. And there's not even definition for that. It's more like a expectation for what we are talking about on the same page or not. And that's the scary part of word. My understanding of meditation is clearing your mind and existing in the moment. Yes, that's very good. That's a very, I would say, common meditation. Live in the moment, mindful, right? Like mindfulness. I think it's more like a mindfulness. The many meditation practitioners try to sort of summarize what they're doing, and then they probably made the word mindfulness at some point. So clearing up all the sort of the desire, the greed, and then focus on the moment is very, very true form of meditation. We probably call it mindfulness. But in Zen practice, the meditation itself is the practice to become empty. And there's no word, unfortunately, there's no word to explain this concept of ku, sora. Ku と書いて sora. That concept is the empty, and some Zen books say that this ku as the they don't even translate that. But if I have to really translate that word, it's kind of emptiness, but it's not empty as we think that there's an empty glass. It's empty and being simultaneously, and not in the moment. It's all about past and future and now together. So it's gonna be like Heidegger, but we are there, but we can be empty. And that's kind of the sort of the meditation I learned from my artisans. They did not really explain like this, but and the Sashiko can bring ones to their, or at least one will experience that kind of status when they keep teaching Sashiko. It's more like emptiness, yet it's not exactly the emptiness. One day, I hope I can explain that somehow. I really hope I can. I always feel that I need meditation, but I'm not good at meditation. Why not? What is meditation for you? Well, that's a very big topic to discuss. What is the meditation, and then how to do the meditation itself as a technique is also one big discussion. But without sort of, you don't even have to understand it. We don't have to even understand it. We just have to have our own definition so that we can share our feeling or opinions. So it's not about being right or wrong or defining or teaching the definition to the others. It's more like thinking about it long enough to share the perception or interpretation to the others so that we can talk about it. But Zen itself says that Furyumonji, which is the word itself, will not offer the whole practice. In other words, the words, like the description we're talking about right now, the language itself will not be enough to explain the whole practice. That's why you gotta do it. You have to do it in order to feel the same way. And I feel the Sashiko the same way. There are many rules right now. There are many, concerns probably, but I just want you to start doing it, and then you can keep learning. Anybody can appropriate the culture at some point, no matter how many years of experience they have. Like whenever they start saying like I know everything about Sashiko without, well, like it doesn't matter who, even Japanese, anybody who starts saying that I completely understand Sashiko means that that's the end of learning. And I I think it shouldn't be happening. I used to think I was bad at meditation, but I realized there were a lot of things that bring about mental state that people seems to describe when they talk about what's like Yeah, I don't. This is kind of like a little bit messed up theory, but the people who think that they're bad at meditation are usually the people who can do meditation, and vice versa. If I see somebody who say that they are very good at meditation, I kind of start. I don't want to doubt them, but there's no word in my understanding that I am good at meditation. Same, I'm bad at like I. It's the same as I'm bad at meditation. Meditation means the sentence itself does not make sense to me, but the fact that you can say that you're bad at it means that you can reflect yourself in the time of meditation, which is a good meditation. So, ay. I'm mumbling, but I hope this makes sense. I always feel busy in my heart and in my mind, and that makes me sometimes really tired. Then Sashiko Livi-san. That Sashiko kicks in. Sashiko kicks in there. You can be sort of meditative. It's not a meditation, but it's sort of meditative status by stitching. Especially when you do running stitching machine, it's gonna be one of the meditative status. And this doesn't have to be Sashiko, of course. It can be, as Lily say, it can be stitching, it can be anything, like literally anything. But for me, for us, it's Sashiko, and then I don't want it to be completely changed by somebody who doesn't know anything about those things. It's so bummer that I can't sort of discuss about it better in Japanese. And we, like when I talk about this kind of themes in Japanese, we do have like a similar expectations. And as the result, it's much easier for me to describe or explain what it is, which I might try tomorrow in Japanese. But in another language like English, for me, I have to start thinking about the possible misunderstanding based on our expectations difference. That's the most difficult part of the communicating over culture. And that's why I think that there's no future of the translator losing their job. I mean, the crappy translator will lose their job because Google or the other AI will take over that place. They will translate the like plain textile, not textile, plain text to the every languages in the future. So there will not be a big need for those who just can translate. But the sincere need for the translator will never be gone. In fact, it's gonna be higher demand for those translators who can translate, including the culture. Those who can translate the language with implementing some of the cultural perspective can be the next generation's asset. One does not change the meaning, but one can make the sentence more valid. Right now, I'm mending leggings and I use some kind of complex knotted embroidery stitches to do stretchy fabric, but I love the patterns and movement. It's easy to get fully absorbed into winding the thread in certain patterns around my needles and points. Yeah, the practice itself is very repetition. Those repetition can be considered as a boring things to do, but it really is the preference. これどうしようかな。聞くか。And the Sashiko is there for that. Sashiko we don't know is there. And one day I hope I can I hope one day I can describe this much in a shorter paragraph, condensed way, so that many people can easily understand it. At the same time, I might be okay that it might not happen because we don't have to really rush to find the answer. I don't know why we have to rush so much to provide the answer or get the answers. We can kind of take time to get it there. We can do anything meanwhile, as long as one is trying to keep learning. Of course, we can make any mistakes. Anything is possible. Just I do not want it to be different shape based on somebody's ego or, convenience. Oh. Sorry. Name die. I'm getting so sleepy, so I'll finish at 10:30. 30 more minutes. It's only 1 hour live streaming. I came late, but I hope was good. Like I have 25 more minutes, but I'm kind of wrapping up. But I'm still going. That's a lot of things I've come and understanding about, even though no one can fully explain it. As long as they keep trying, I can create a mental image of it by putting together all of the partial attempt as explaining. Yeah, and I think that's what I'm trying to do. So I don't want everything I do is to everything I do is based on my wishful thinking that I would be able to navigate or introduce or encourage or push you back to find your own Sashiko if you want to make it Sashiko, right? It doesn't have to be Sashiko. If you're doing a completely different thing, it doesn't have to be Sashiko. But those things will probably, it's not something to be taught. I mean, I teach, so it might sound contradicting, but what I teach is not the answer. I will teach how to get the answer by yourself, or even not how to approach to the answer. That's quite important for me to define the answer. That's why I suffer in this culture. In this culture, Western culture, English culture, because without the answer, it's kind of not good. You have to have an answer to do things. Yeah, I think you should get enough sleep tonight. I will get enough sleep. I will go to sleep right after this. So it should be good enough. Then tomorrow it's the Japanese live session, not live session, live streaming. And then I have a workshop over the weekend. Another reason that I didn't go to Israel together, that I had a workshop, have an online workshop this coming weekend. Ah, I cannot thread the needle. I cannot thread that. There you go. Not being able to thread the needle is a one big sign that I should be stopping, but there we go. Well, look at this. It's all hand stitching. Like it or not, it's all hand stitching, and that's why sometimes people call me crazy. But I don't think it's crazy. Is it? I don't think so. It is. This is. I don't know if this is funny or not, but I really appreciate everybody coming here today. I mean, everybody coming here today. I really appreciate it, but I really would like to know who is the one. Like, there's a one person or one account, which keep giving me the negative feedback. Negative, not a negative feedback. A negative, like the button, not good button. Um, there's a good button, bad button. That person is so, how can I say it, so intense or so passionate. Passionate is the word. He or she is so passionate that he or she does that before anybody. So it's quite fascinating. Like, wow, he must or she must love me for that. It's kind of scary. But they, like, for example, this live streaming had a dislike even before I started. Right after I scheduled it, there was one dislike. So like, somebody is really checking it. I don't think they come and watch together. They just leave it. But that passion is something. That's something. Everything I make is hand stitching these days. I don't really do anything except commission on the sewing machine. Yeah, it's good. Hand stitching is good. I think you're interesting. Thank you. Interesting is a good word. Again, good word. I'll take it in a good way. Every popular streamers I watch has like 10 dislikes before the stream start. So it sounds like you're becoming successful. Yeah, that's how I feel. Like, I'm nowhere close to the, popular streamer, but the fact that somebody doesn't like what I say means that it's kind of true. It's it ring their bell. They had to listen to what I say. I used to care about those things. I think I used to really care about those things, but not really anymore because I've been through last 2 years. I've been through a lot, so I became extremely strong. I became extremely strong. But yeah, I cannot believe how strong I became for those things. It's kind of scary because that strength can be the equal version of numbness. I don't feel that, so it's probably not that good. At the same time, people are bored. I mean, coming here to learn Sashiko is great, and I really appreciate it. And I hope you get something every time you come here and watch it, because it's not a comedy channel. I do love comedy, and I do wish that I could be like stand-up comedian or something, but that's gonna be the different expectation. So I don't do any jokes, right? I don't really make it stand-up comedy. That can be one explanation for the expectation. When you watch the stand-up comedy, like on Netflix or anything, we as a viewer expect him or her, the comedian, to sort of insult somebody for the laugh, which I kind of don't like, to be honest. I wish that kind of joke is not gonna be there because somebody might be offended or hurt. But at the same time, that's the culture. The sort of making fun of the others is the fundamental of this stand-up comedy. So I'm nowhere to criticize those things. It has to be there. But when one goes to the like a comedy club, you gotta expect that somebody, the comedian, will make fun of maybe you or somebody else. Discussion saying that that's not okay is a little bit off the topic because that's the expectation. Like if you go to the comedy club or stand-up comedians show, they will say something nasty, which is fun, which is funny, but it's not about good or bad. Sashiko is the same too. If they would like to talk about Sashiko, there's gonna be like a sort of the mutual understanding we gotta carry it somehow. That is something the old Japanese has as a default, as long as I know. And that's more like acknowledgement, and that's probably whatever is good is not good because that ignore the expectation of, like, if you are going into somewhere unknown, you gotta know what kind of place you're getting into. And by using the word Sashiko or by saying that I know Sashiko, they're entering the world of Sashiko and they gotta know what they're entering to. Otherwise, it's gonna be very unfortunate to have those discussions. Yeah, I come here to learn, but also hang out and take some time to work on some mending together. Yep, that's what I want. I mean, the learning is kind of secondary. I hope you enjoy it first. Sorry, I'm stopping. I like body doubling, which is just working on activity at the same time as another person. Hmm. So sometimes when I want to focus on something, I find a stream of someone doing the same thing and do it together with them. Huh, that's a good thing. But even though I'm not really doing Sashiko, I take something away from learning about. Ah, an attitude that improved my mending. I'm enjoying the stream. Are you stitching a particular pattern for the piece you're working? Yes, I'm stitching the Shippo pattern. I'll show you just a second. Give me after this thread, I will show you the pattern. So I was doing the almost free running stitch, no patterns pre-printed or no patterns even drawn. I just kept moving my needles for a long time, and this is the furoshiki for that. And after few hours, not a few decades, 20 hours of stitching, I guess, I kind of lost what I wanted to do, and it's probably the phase of finishing it up. So I decided to kind of add some of the ego so that this will be a finished piece. I was going to kind of keep it empty in between those spaces, but it was not the best idea. So now I'm adding some specific patterns with specific colors that I choose to make it something. I don't know what something is gonna be, but oh, sorry. I keep yawning a lot. It's extremely important for me to keep doing the live streaming the same time consistently. And today I was late by 30 minutes, but no matter how tired I am, I gotta do it. So it's gonna be consistent. So this is the Shippo pattern, you may know. And I'm adding to pretty much as many places as possible. So it became like I was not intending any of those. So the photo, I don't know if you see the photo. There's a photo of this on my Instagram, so if you could take a look at it, that'd be great. But I was not intending to make anything, and at some point I started thinking this might be like a dragon or something. But it ended up with the mother holding the baby for some reason. Like I could interpret it like that, the way how they look at. I want to make sure that I can show it to you somehow. Next time I'll bring the photos, so I will share what I meant. So since I saw it like that, many people can look at the different way. There's no answer for that because I did not intend anything. But for that, when I kind of felt that it could be a mother with, maybe even not even mother, a parent and daughter. Why did I say mother and daughter? Can be boy, can be a father. Anyway, so baby and somebody. That's the time I started thinking about this pattern. And then I decided to do denim first. Don't ask me why, but now I'm into this pattern right now. I I used to do just Asanoha patterns, and now I do this. Oy vey. The Ivashu reminds me of the craft circle I was in the neighborhood I grew up. When I was 10 years old, we were gathered. Yes. So the Ibasho itself is not so special, and before the internet, we had it. We had it in every social unit. It can be a village, it can be the school district, it can be even like elderly house complex. So we had it. We had Ibasho. Every single person had Ibasho. There was not that much case of dying alone, because if I did not go to the one of those ibasho gathering, they would know something is wrong with me. And that existed everywhere in this world before the internet kicked in. They were bored before the internet. They had to hang out to make fun and to have fun. Now, no, sorry. Before in the past, you have to belong to the community, or you had to belong to there physically to be part of that ibasho. And sometimes somebody cannot get that place because of the disagreement, or worst case scenario, bullying. And then when bullying starts, it's not gonna be ibasho to somebody, so it's really not the same as ibasho. But internet sort of eliminate those places. At the same time, internet created the place for us to do that too. And there are tons of places, like even social media is like that. Instagram is there. Uh, everywhere they hang out there to find their own place. I just wanted to have the place where we can do things together. Facebook, Instagrams are more like the result, right? You share what you made. You it's the outcome. So you can kind of edit it. You can edit it, you can fake it, you can modify it, you can be who, instead of showing who you really are, you kind of show who you think you should be or who you wanna be. That's really not an ibasho because you have to fake it a little bit. And I don't want to fake it here. And I don't fake it neither. And that's the whole reason of ibasho. Sorry, I'm kind of missing a lot of comments. On the piece I'm doing right now, I'm thinking of doing the geometric patterns over the patch, but doing chain stitch instead of running stitch, because there are leggings and chain stitch stretch. Yeah, like I don't do the mending on this stretchy fabric. It looks like dragon or serpent or even root. So there's no answer, so you can get it inspiration. But I figured that it was more like a person with a boy or a girl. I think it looks like ribbons, but yeah, I love the way of doing that. I recently connected the dots of the holes in a t-shirt, then did a really Swiss darning mend. You do a lot of different mending. That's good, that's good. And by the end of it, I was like, oh, it looks like a sea dragon, and I added some details to make it sea dragon. In my case, it was usually disability and the fact that I'm autistic and don't really belong anywhere. I hope you can belong here. Yeah. My stance is kind of simple. I'm not gonna reject anybody and I'm not gonna chase anybody. If that's the Japanese saying, like "kurumo no koba sarumo no was." I keep saying that in Japanese live streaming as well. I have, I don't reject. I don't reject unless I might. But I like basic, like as an ideal case, I do not reject anybody and I do not chase anybody if they decided to leave. But that's what ibasho should be. There's no condition, there's no requirement to be. It's just coming here is good enough. Or coming there is good enough. No matter how different we are, we can share the time together, because the purpose of this is to share the time. Sashiko, yes, good. Sashiko is great. And this is the reason this is Sashiko live streaming is because Sashiko is something I can offer. It can be cooking, but cooking does not make me talk like this while doing it. So it can be anything. But that might be the most difficult things in this world. We have to be strong. The society expects us to be strong. And that's quite harsh sometimes. What is the meaning of the ibasho? A place where you feel like to belong. Yes, you got it right. There's no direct translation for ibasho. It's kind of difficult to explain in one word. As the result, I'm trying to explain with many different ways. Some people call it family. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Some people call it ibasho as the home, not a family, home. And I agree, the home is a very good way to explain that, but it's not. The home is like there is a specific people who can belong to the home. It's like a place to come back, right? Ibasho is not really the place to come back. Ibasho is the place to go or to be. And we have to prove ourselves that I can belong to one specific place. I have to be good at something, or I have to have certain amount of something, or usually money. But those things are not ibasho because they that kind of place can be the ibasho for those who share the exact same requirement. So I would like to make a ibasho for those who like sashiko as well as the other hand stitching. So the people who might be focusing on the money without caring the cultural appropriation, this place is not gonna be the ibasho for them because they will probably don't feel like it. So, but as long as there's a condition, anybody can be here. And handcraft is one of the best things to do because we can talk, we don't use our brain so much, so we can talk, we can share, we can write, we can, hands are busy, but brain and mouth is not busy at all. So that's the whole purpose of this, what I'm doing every Thursday night. And that's before this theme, the Sashiko Live streaming was the place to share or show my Sashiko stitching without any editing. There's so many people who think they know about Sashiko, yet they don't show what they're doing. We can fake to be anybody we want in this world. I can be something's master tomorrow and I can fake it. Completely fake it. And we don't know. You don't know if I exist or not, right? You don't like if you met me, that's fine. But many people don't know if I exist or not. Although I share my, I show my face. So because we can fake everything, I just wanted to share something very concrete. I am stitching over the camera right now, and that's the truth, right? That's something we cannot change. There might be some teachers who cannot do Sashiko. We are teaching Sashiko. In that case, I have to sort of make counter ideas that, well, one gotta be able to do Sashiko to teach. So before that was a more like show time to prove that I'm actual person. But that's why I did not offer it every week. I offer it whenever I thought I could to offer the better performance. But after I decided to make it ibasho, I try to offer it every Thursday, no matter how bad my shape is, like today. But yeah, that's what we're gonna do. I'm sorry that I promised that I'm gonna be off at 10:30 because I'm tired. I will come back next Thursday. Next Thursday I can be here at the same time. It's 9 o'clock, 9 p.m. Eastern time. Today I was a little late, but um yeah, I'm into this pattern right now. We call it shippo pattern. Oh, hang on, I'm sorry. Ibasho is like meditation, being without expectation. Yep. So being is the thing. Being is the key. So this is the shippo pattern I'm working on. It's the pretty big piece. It's 1 meter square that I had been stitching as a free hand stitching. And this is videos archived, so please take a look if you want to take a look. I think I will be working the same thing next week as well, or something. Probably I'm gonna move back to the Asanoha patterns. But since I got into this shippo patterns, this denim happened first. This one is also available on the photo of this denim is available on the Instagram, so please take a look. This was fun. I did not want to finish it. I like stitching the denim, so then I'm applying this. Let's see what's gonna do next. Okay. Okay. Let me check. T-shirt. Wow. I think I covered. Not I covered everything. I think I. No. Did I have any topic that I wanted to cover today? Nope. Topic is NA, non-announced. So it's okay that I didn't do anything. Yes, so I would like to keep this place as the place where anybody can join and then stitch together. And while I'm showing the unedited version of my Sashiko stitching. And if you are interested in any of those Sashiko stitching, please follow the Instagram for the stories, and please consider taking the online class or in-person class to get the kind of a support. Or you can keep watching these videos. I have tons of live streaming as well as some tutorials. Many people learn Sashiko by just watching it. It might requires you a lot of watching, but it's I hope that it's not boring, so you can just keep it running behind you, and then I sometimes talk about specific things. Unfortunately, I do not have those easy shortcut summarized version of my live streaming, so you gotta find it where you want to look and listen to. But yeah, you can learn by just watching it, and if you would like to expedite the learning process, please consider taking the class as well. All right, so I will see you next Thursday, and I hope you have a good night and